All right, we are rolling in 3, 2, 1.
If you like drama, we got it. If you like sports, yeah, we got it. You like politics, promise we got it. Report everything hot at this college. PG News, yeah, right off the press. Reporters and filmers, PG got the best. Information that you need is reported. Make sure y'all tune in for what's happening next.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to PGCC Perspective, where we speak about everything political, platonic, and problematic. I'm your host, Aniya, and I'm glad you all are joining us today. It is currently September, which is namely known as Suicide Prevention Month. In honor of this month, we have two wonderful representatives, Mary and Renise, from the National Alliance on Mental Illness, also known as NAMI, on PGCC Campus, to discuss topics surrounding mental health with me today. Firstly, though, Mary and Renise, introduce yourself. Who are you all to NAMI at PGCC?
Hi, my name is Mary. So I am the president of NAMI on Campus Club and actually the founder of it too. So I will be speaking on my experience and I'll pass it over to Renee.
Hi, I'm Renisa. I'm the event coordinator for NAMI on Campus, and I'll also be speaking on my experiences as well.
Topic of discussion is suicide in the youth. I know it's a big thing. It's a huge thing, especially in the Black community as well, and it's really high numbers going on too. So do you all want to speak to that?
Yes. So I will share my story briefly. Growing up, I didn't hear anyone talking about mental health. Firstly, I was struggling with just traumatic events that was going on in my life, which led me to, feeling depressed, feeling as though I wasn't loved, feeling confused, feeling lost, and just feeling as though my voice didn't matter. And so not seeing anyone speaking up about mental health. I was in middle school, actually. I was 13 years old. And so this led me to go through many years of just, without seeking that right support, without knowing how to really speak up about it. Because stigma, especially in our community, the Black American community, mental health is very stigmatized and it's considered taboo. And because of this, it took me so many years before I was able to access that care. And so between those years, I was battling with suicidal ideation. I was feeling as though what I was going through, I couldn't just move past it. I felt as though I was stuck in this cycle of doom. I felt as though I was getting flashbacks from my traumatic experience. I felt as though I didn't have anyone that could really tell me, hey, if you're struggling, this is how you're able to actually get support. And because of this, I went through that cycle by myself and feeling like it was just so much noise and chaos in my mind. And that led me to feeling suicidal. It made me feel as though I didn't matter on this earth. I felt as though I didn't have any purpose at all. And it just felt as though I was just on this earth for just experiencing pain, experiencing the amount of the stress that I went through. And I found myself going in and out of the mental health hospital and struggling to actually stay on this earth. And throughout my journey, I finally opened up to my parents about what I was going through. And they kind of asked me, where is your faith? Why aren't you praying about it? And this kind of led me to feeling like, whoa, I know like prayer helps, but then I needed extra support. I needed that professional support because this is something I've been battling for almost 8 years alone. And so I had to advocate for myself to be able to get that support. And finally, they were able to understand me after 2 weeks of advocating for myself, arguing about it, crying. And so they finally decided to start supporting my journey. But then this opened my eyes to seeing how stigmatized mental health is. This opened my eyes to seeing how not many people are able to access that care. Not many people are able to go through that advocating for yourself journey. And so these people just go on with just battling what they're facing without that right support and without that right care. And so I started to speak up about my journey. I started to advocate for myself. And I realized that by speaking up, that many other people started to come out and say, hey, this is what I'm also struggling with. And from there on, I was able to form a community of people that are able to I was able to speak up and advocate for themselves and also get that support. So Suicide Prevention Month means so much to me because I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor of 5 suicide attempts, and also the fact that there are many other people that are struggling with that same thoughts, that feeling of not wanting to be here, that feeling of not wanting to exist because of those traumatic experiences, because of feeling as though all what you're experiencing is all that you're gonna go through, but I wanted to let people know that there's more to your journey, there's more to your story, there's more to that pain, and you're not just on this earth for just pain, but you're on this earth for a purpose and for a reason. And so by speaking up, I'm able to let people know that there is hope available and that they're able to recover.
For me personally, I know I worked with children for 5 years, and working with kids, you basically see how you are when you were younger. Like, you see all the big emotions that they have, you see all the struggles that they go through, even with parents or even just generational traumas that they have been passed on for themselves. And as a kid who also had struggled with suicidal thoughts, it made me reflect on myself and think, okay, well, how can I help others? How can I help these children that look just like me? Especially in the Black community, unfortunately, we constantly downplay the topic of therapy. It's not something that is like, oh, okay, viewed as a positive and viewed as a negative. So instead of making this a negative conversation, let's change that. Let's be vulnerable. Let's speak out so now the next generation can prevail. That's the point of the children as our future is the conversation that people always say. But let's actually take that serious and take some responsibility on these issues. So I think that it's really important to just reflect back and see, like, hey, how can mental health issues really affect you?
No, I agree. I feel like both of what you guys have been saying are really testaments to what the youth is really going through, how they need this help, how they really just need someone to just care like what they're really going through and not just like push them off and think that what they're doing is like it's too dramatic in their head or something like that. So I feel like both of y'all stories are really just a testament to that and a testament to how the youth really can be uplifted and how we can really like help these kids that are coming up. And that kind of leads us straight to our next topic. In y'all opinion, what would you do in a crisis situation, and how do you think the youth or anyone who is going through suicidal ideation, how can they ask for help?
That I'm scared to talk about how I feel and that I'm scared to talk about, everything I was going through. So for me, it took me a second to ask for help, but once I did, I was overwhelmed. I was nervous. So to the people out there that need help, that are scared to ask for help, this is me as somebody who's a survivor, like Mary said, of a few suicide attempts. I want to tell you, hey, it's okay to be scared. It's okay to feel like it's a lot going on right now. And it's okay to be vulnerable and to look that person in the face and tell them, I need help.
Like Renisa said, it could be scary to ask for help. It could be terrifying, speaking up for yourself. And so I want to let you know that right now, if you are struggling, if you are going through those thoughts, you are not alone in your journey. And like I spoke about, it took me many years to actually open up. But I realized that if I actually, spoke up when I was struggling, and if I was able to, actually get that care and support when I was that 13-year-old struggling, I wouldn't have gone through most of the things that I went through alone for that amount of years. And so I want to let you know right now that there is hope. Like I mentioned, I was that person who did not see a future for myself. I was that person who only saw my struggles in that moment. I didn't see a way out of that situation. But by the grace of God, I've been able to actually rise back up from that. I've been actually able to take from that pain and use it to actually inspire others, use it to actually motivate others. And so if you are struggling right now, I want you to know that there is a way out of this, and that your journey of struggling doesn't have to end there. There's more to your chapter, and that I want you to know that there is help available. There are many resources. If you take a look of NAMI's website, you will see that there are different resources, and also calling the crisis hotline if you are in a crisis situation. Getting professional care is super important, and making sure that you don't allow that stigma to keep you silent. Make sure that your voice doesn't stay silent. You are a conversation starter when you reach out for help. You are changing the stereotype, and you are actually making room for other people to actually speak up too by speaking up about your experience.
And Mary, I feel like you really spoke to something I was going to say, the crisis hotlines, the knowing that there is someone, and the way that you both are really speaking, again, also leads to the next topic, but it really is powerful. Y'all are both, as y'all do right now, are advocating for suicidal prevention as we speak. But to speak to that, how else do you think people who want to help but just don't know how do you think that they can advocate for suicide prevention?
So even just having somebody in your corner that they might not even know that how you feel about them, but having somebody in your corner that, hey, I can lead from their example and even just go through and keep going through life with it, is really important.
every one of us at some point of our journey might have already thought about, okay, what's the point of life? Why are we actually on this earth? We might be figuring like, okay, there has to be something more to just life itself. And so I say this to say that, like me, who didn't know my purpose, who didn't know why I was placed on this earth, you might be that person who is thinking, who are having those thoughts. And so I want to let you know that you're not alone. And so by speaking up, like I said, you're creating the conversation for other people to speak out. And so, like Renisa said, researching, doing a lot of research, and actually seeing how you can be that, how you can be an advocate. It can start by simply talking to a friend. It can be simply talking to a loved one. Like for me, speaking up about my journey actually led to me even getting to know more about my mom's childhood. She was able to open up to me and explain some more deeper things to her journey and what she actually faced in her childhood as well. Because I know in my journey of struggling, when I opened up, my mom was initially, where's your faith? How come you're not praying about it? But sometimes prayer can go hand in hand with professional support. Adding prayer to your treatment plan in itself is a way to actually get that support, because mental health is just as important as physical health. And there's power in speaking up. There's power in using your story. So just talking about it helps a lot. You find out that so many other people like you are people that you don't even consider, people that you see even laughing, being the friendly, joking person in your friend group might be that person who goes home crying, struggling. So you never know who really actually needs that help.
That was powerful, man. That was really powerful. I thank you both for sharing your experiences, sharing your thoughts, and just sharing all these powerful messages that we have. I want to thank you both for joining the podcast today. This was a really great conversation, a really impactful conversation as well. One last thing, where can you find NAMI resources on campus?
So you can find us by going to our Instagram page, namioncampus.pgcc. And then you can also click the link tree, sorry, in our Instagram bio to go through we have a list of resources. If you scroll to the bottom, we have the main NAMI website, which has a lot of resources if you click that link.
All right, thank you both. Thank you all for joining us today, and see you later. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.